Hey, this is Yasir with another Detailed Fitness interview, and our guest today is Claudius Harris out of California. And I'll let him take the floor and introduce himself to you guys. Go ahead, Claudius.
Hey, yes, my name is Claude Harris from Los Angeles, Southern California. And yeah, we're here to talk and to do some things you know, just kind of see where it goes, man. But yes, sir, I'm ready to open up, man. I'm an open book, man.
All right. Yeah, okay, that's good to know. Well, I appreciate you coming on and scheduling some time with me.
Yeah.
So what's the name of your business out in California?
It's final appearance, detailing and protection.
Okay. And how long
Yeah,
have
I just recently changed it. It used to be final appearance. It was mobile service, but it was just final appearance detailing. And I just actually upgraded my LLC, just changed to make it official and made it detailing and protection.
Okay. Okay. All right. Good deal. Now, what does the protection represent? What does that signify?
Pretty much when we started getting into the ceramic coatings and then also paint protection film. So I've been, pretty much doing a combination of those two things. So that's where the protection part comes in.
Okay. All right. Now, so you're out in California. So what made you go from being mobile? Are you still mobile, or what made you go into the building versus just staying mobile?
I think it was a progression. I never, honestly, I never thought about even getting going into a shop. And one is because I was hardcore mobile. I started my business mobile, so yeah, I was kind of hardcore mobile. So I didn't really anticipate going into a building, but it became a progression for me. So as the coding started to arrive and started to come on the scene, that's what kind of changed it for me.
Okay.
The coding's coming on scene, and I started to make the progression there because as you know, in the beginning, you couldn't really do the codings mobile, and I wanted to get into that market or get a piece of that market. So I started doing them in my garage. Well, it got to the point where I was starting to have very expensive cars parked on the street, and then the space was a little small. It was workable, but it was kind of small. So as I started, like I said, business started taking off, it became like, okay, it only made sense because of the money I was making. And I basically, one day I looked at it and I said, you know what, I could do a shop in my sleep, because I went, and it was over time, because as the coding started to hit, I really, and everybody was like getting buildings and all that, and I really kind of wasn't doing it. I was still just trying to do from my garage to do whatever. And then it just became, like I said, it became a thing to where I started doing a lot of cars, and I have been in the past probably looking at buildings from time to time. I got my taste and kind of got kicked to the side and all of those things about when you go to, especially out here, the smaller buildings, the mom and pop places, they're few and far between. So probably about 3 years ago, I started looking, kind of didn't do too good looking. And so I said, okay, let it go. Next year came, I did a little bit more looking. And as I was starting to do this looking, I was getting my feet wet as far as what to say and what not to say. So my journey then began as the coding started to progress. I started to look at it. What I did is probably about 2 years ago, maybe a little longer. I said, hey, let me see what I can do once a month. Let me see if I can do one coating a month for a year and see how that works for me. So I decided to do that, do 1 year, and see what I would do. Well, I started to surpass that, the first year. I was doing 1 or 2 a month. I said, okay. So I said, so the next year I said, okay, let me see if I can do 2 or more a month. And I surpassed, and then that was the time when I surpassed that. That was the time when I said, man, I said, you know what? I need to, I might as well just go in and get a shop, you know, because I started doing probably anywhere from 2 to 3 a month
Okay.
on a regular. So it was like, and plus I wanted to eventually maybe just have a spot to go to, maybe do some trainings. There was avenues for me to do some other stuff. So it only made sense. And like I said, I started doing anywhere from 3, almost 4 a month. And it started, because then it started getting to the point where people were coming to my house. I started looking at that. I said, okay, my privacy thing is kind of gone a little bit. Then I didn't have too many of these, but I did have some where guys were like, oh, where's your shop? And they're going like, oh, it's at my house. And I was like, oh, I didn't have too many people turn me down, but they would hesitate.
Yeah.
And then, but then some people were really cool with it. They said, oh man, because I had the garage kind of fixed up. It was like, oh, this is cool, and I was doing my thing and, no overhead. And plus, and then I was getting write-off. I was getting write-off from my taxes for the whole business. Man, I was loving it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, I said I had to look at what I was doing. I said, okay, if I'm going to, I have to see where I'm at and where I want to be. And that's kind of what determined. I said, you know what? I'm going to go another step further. I'm going to get this shop and see where it leads and see where it goes. So.
Cool. So how long have you been in the shop now?
Coming up on a year already. June will be a year. Actually, I took a hold of it in mid-May, and then in June was my first month. So I'm coming up on a year.
Well, congratulations on that 1 year.
Thank you.
Location. And sound like you definitely was evaluating your situation, and a lot of people may not think about it, but protecting your privacy. We may not think about our privacy as a business owner, as a person, just individuals. So you don't want your neighbors knowing everything you're doing, or kind of your movement. So I can understand how you would definitely want to, because they'll start probably looking at you more a certain way, depending on
and the people in my neighborhood, they were pretty cool. They, I even did like some of their cars and things like that, and so they were kind of excited about it. But still, it was like when I was leaving, like Austin Martin's parked on the street, other kind of high-end Mercedes in the driveway, and it's like I started feeling, even though I was insured, it's like, nah,
right.
Yeah. So I said, you know what? Yeah. Plus, it's going to give the business, I started thinking, when I find this place, it's going to give the business a different look, a more professional thing. And so when I went out, also I took my time and I went out and I really looked. I didn't just get anything that just stumbled on. I looked at the aesthetics, people bringing their cars, what it's going to look like, the size, all of that. I took all of that in consideration. And fortunately, I was in a position to where I could take my time and do it. It wasn't like I had to rush into it to do anything. So I kind of took my time, and I think that it started to come to me. And I think it was really a blessing, because it's like 5 minutes from my house. It's in a really nice area. And so I can do the cars there, so yeah, it wound up really being a good deal. So.
Okay, good deal. Yeah, that's great. That sounds like just ideal situation.
Yeah.
Location, protecting your clients' vehicles, and for you is short commute.
Yeah. I started thinking about that. It's like, I want to be somewhere if I'm tired, it's just a short hop to the house. And it couldn't have been any better. I mean, things lined up really, really well. I mean, even when they were checking me out, I was checking them out. And they said something that was really kind of key. When I was going through this transition with them, we were going back and forth. The email was like a mile long. We kept what about this? And what about this? And what about that? And one of the things he said to me is like, the reason why we're asking you all these questions, he said, we don't want you to get in here and not be able to be a functioning business.
Yeah.
And if we have restrictions that would do that, he said it wouldn't be a good fit either way. And I said, you know what? I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? Because he said, man, we looked online, we saw your business, and then they, and they would ask me questions. So I told them, see, and I learned over the couple of years of going out and looking for places and get turned down because, oh, you're a detailer, you're going to be washing cars, you're going to be fixing on cars, you're going to be doing this, doing that. So this time when I went out, I had a little bit more wisdom. And I went out and I said, oh, everything that I'm doing is aesthetic. That's all I'm doing. And I went out saying like, okay, I'm doing ceramic coatings, which they really didn't know about. But I said ceramic coatings, paint protection film. That's what I'm doing to the cars. I didn't even mention detailing.
Yeah.
And I believe that was part of it. So then they started looking into it and they said, oh yeah, we heard a little bit about ceramics and blah, 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 blah. And they looked at my website, this and that. They said, yeah, but, and then towards the end, they said, but you do a lot of detailing. And I'm going like, yes. He said, well, how do you, that's a big part of your business. I'm going like, yeah, it is. But, so we got into a conversation about it. Long story short, once they did everything, they came to me and they said, okay, we're really considering to have you come on board. Is there any restrictions that we have that could stop you? And I'm going like, well, nothing I could think of. So I said, so we pulled the plug, we went in on it. So then they said, so towards the end, it was like, they would ask me something about detailing or doing something. And I said, well, because I knew one of the things after going through the emails with them, I can tell they were concerned about a water thing because they don't have any water hookups. They don't want to be paying for any water because, that came into the conversation about washing and different things like that. And I kind of left it alone. I kind of just left it alone because I didn't want that to be a deterrent. Well, long story short, what it was is that they don't really have any water hookups. They don't have spigots all around, you could be hooking your water up and just using their water. So they said, well, that's a concern for us because it looks like you have to wash the cars and do this and do that. Well, yeah, but I said, I have other systems and things that I can use to get the cars done. They said, oh, okay, well, cool. So then towards the end, we're getting ready to sign up, and they said, and I said, oh, by the way, I have my own self-contained unit. My van has all my water and everything. They said, oh yeah. I said, that's great. So when the door was open, I said, so does that mean I can wash cars at the facility? They said, yes. They said, we have detailers come out and wash some of the clients that are there now. Okay. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, man,
yeah,
this is it. So yeah.
So that was strategic. You educated yourself in the process, which helped you in the long run. It took a 2-year learning process basically, but in the end, it came out to your benefit because you were able to negotiate a deal and deal with the clients or the landlords, not necessarily objections but concerns.
Yes,
they may have had. So that's cool. Now, in terms of detailing, is this a full-time gig or do you have something else? What else do you have going on?
Hold on. Let me get you back. I had got a text message. Let me get you back. Okay. So, yeah, I'm actually at work right now.
Okay. Okay.
I'm at work right now. So I have over the years, I have pretty much consistently figured out how to manage a business and a full-time gig.
Okay.
And so 28 years later, I'm at the college. I'm at a college. I work in maintenance and operations. And this was also, part of the plan, but it was a night gig. And at the time, I was early in my business career, early in my in the things that I was doing. What made me decide to get a job? There was a couple of things in the mix, and I was a single parent at the time, and I was, I was thinking about getting into detailing or doing something like that, and So one of the things that, had to be done is like I needed something steady because I was trying to raise 2 of my 3 kids.
Oh, wow.
So in the midst of it's funny because I was taking care of my kids, didn't have a job. I just moved to a new city, and my mom was helping me with the kids. And so she said, you should go back to school. So I was like, yeah, because I had tried the computer thing and all that. It didn't really work. So she was like, well, since you're here and I'm helping you with the kids, why don't you go to school? Okay. Went to City College, started taking some general courses. I was walking past the counseling thing one day and I saw business. I was like, you know what? I always wanted to, own my own business or do my business. Let me see what this is about. Picked up the flyer, took a course. The first course they had was introduction to entrepreneurship. And that was the thing that set me off. I was sitting there, the instructor said, hey, a lot of people start businesses from hobbies. And I started thinking, I said, okay, what kind of hobby? What kind of hobby do I have? And I said, well, I've always loved cars. I've always loved to be around cars. Even when I was young, growing up in New York, I was always mechanically, I was like, I was around guys that worked on cars, did things with cars. I had a love for cars. And I used to like to take care of them. So I was like, oh, well, maybe this would be something. So in the class, when I was taking the class, I started to look to see about, I found out about mobile.
Okay.
Now you're talking early 90s. I'm talking like
Wow.
90 was when I started looking. And at that time, people were just starting to get busy. The mobile thing wasn't that big. I think mobile started like in the 80s. Mobile detailing per se started like around in the 80s. So, but guys were going to the business parks and doing things. So I was like, okay. So I started looking at how many cars in California. I started doing a little bit of research. I said, wait a minute. Then the startup was low, and I was like, So I started looking into it, man. And I got a hold of this thing. I had a 1979 Caprice Classic. That was my car that my aunt gave me. She was helping me out, like, with the kids. Like I said, I was starting all over. I was coming from a bad situation in the 80s. The mother of my kids, we made this family. We had these 3 kids. The 80s hit, the whole cocaine,
yeah,
partying and all of that. Yeah. Well, she kind of got messed up in all of that, and I wound up, trying to take care of my family and everything. So I relocated to another area in Long Beach. Mom started helping me, went to school. Then I started getting this idea. So, I had got this car. I was in the trunk of this car, and I had all my vacuum and everything. And then in the back seat, I put this board across the back seat. It was a 4-door. I put my tubs back there with my stuff, and there I was, man. I started going out. I was going out on the weekends. I was hustling. I was doing this, doing that. Started picking up clients here and there, and then I got the bug. And I got the bug, and then I started getting hungry for information. Then I found my way to McGuire's. I found my way here, there. I started connecting with people. Next thing you know, I'm talking to this person. I'm talking way back in the day. I'm talking about Jason Rose, like way back in the day, dude.
Yeah.
I'm talking like I have a certificate from McGuire's that's from like 1998, 1997. That McGuire, and at the time, McGuire's they were giving free training. So, I took advantage of that, and then through that, I met other people, networking. Next thing you know, talk to this person. Oh, they're having a class over here. Because back then they didn't have a lot of stuff going on, so you had to really kind of fish it out.
Yeah.
So that's when I started to kind of get my thing. I said, man, this is something that I want to start doing. And one thing led to another. I started getting cars. Next thing you know, I said, hey, I'm going to get me, eventually, then over years time, I started the business in 92, and then I was still in my car. And the next thing you know, I progressed, and I think I got the next vehicle I got was a little Astro van, and I started getting, started picking up some clients, started making this thing happen, right? So then I probably get about, I don't know, maybe about 2 years into it. I'm doing good. I got a couple of guys helping me doing some stuff. And one day I just stopped in my tracks and I said, you know what? I'm going to be a car washer, man. I was like, and I just had like an epiphany. It's like, cause what started to happen is I had like 1 or 2 or 3 accounts. People would call me for detailing and I couldn't go because I was washing the cars.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I didn't think nothing of it. I kept doing my thing, making money, doing whatever, having a good time. And then all of a sudden I started missing a lot of them. And I started looking at the business and I said, you know what? I said, I had to stop and look at what I was doing. And I said, you know myself, it's like, I could take this to another level, but it's going to take some money. It's going to take some rigs, some other multiple trucks if I want to do this right. And then I stopped and I thought about it. And I said, you know what? I didn't get into it for this. I had to stop, kind of put myself on brakes, and I said, wait a minute. I didn't get into it for this. I got into it, and I didn't know it at the time, but I got into it for the love of cars and to detail cars one at a time and make them look nice. That's what I wanted to do. Okay. And so I was like, okay, well, how do I go about doing that? And it basically came, well, I know that the car washing part of it was the bread and butter. It's like, that's what you have to do, to bring in, especially if you're going to try to pay bills with it. So I said, well, you know what? I really get into it. So I had to take another course. Hence, I started looking for work and, coming up with a plan. And actually, I came up with a plan. And the plan meant I need to get a good job that pays good money, and then the hours have to be conducive so I can build this business slow and make it and turn it around. Hence came the maintenance thing. I didn't have any experience with maintenance, but they were because at first I did elementary schools, looked at elementary schools, and elementary schools didn't work because the hours were in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. So as I kept doing my research, I found that the colleges were at night. I said, oh man, this is perfect. And so I started doing my research. Found out like, man, they got mad benefits. They're paying good money. And I could be there all night and I could detail in the daytime. Bam. So then my journey started. My journey started with that in about 2000. And I just took off, man. I mean, I got in there. I had a lot of leadership skills. And I went in there and I just wrecked shop, man. I went in there. I was everything they wanted me to do, I was doing it. Okay. Next thing you know, I was in there. I was running, like I was holding like 3 positions at one time. I was like, I was an acting supervisor. I was like getting it all. And so I gained more experience, and to say like, moving forward, I'm in a management position right now. I've been at this college for 14 years. I was at another college for like 6 years. So I got about 20 years in the system, which I'm about to retire in about 5 years with my pension, benefits, the whole 9. So, but that was kind of like my journey. I really had to stop and look at what it is that I wanted to get from this business. And that's where I turned it around and I decided, you know what? I'm going to get me a job. And I was thinking at the time, oh, it's going to be kind of temporary. I'll get me a job, take care of the kids, do whatever, and then move on to something else. Well, as I started to work it and started to do my thing, I started to see all these benefits. One, I didn't have to take all the work. I can pick and choose my clients. There was less wear and tear on my body. I was like, I might want to hold on to this thing for a little while. And I got something that will pay my bills, take care of everything that I need. This way, I don't need the business. I'm not doing the business to supply, to take care of my livelihood. Yeah. It's something extra. And so that's when I said, I started looking at it a little different. I said, you know what? So let me build this thing slow. I worked on my career for a few years. I was doing the detailing on the weekend, built my career up, got my thing going. Got that pretty steady. Then I started what made it really good is like once I started to go back out into the detailing, all I had to do, I was going out just doing detailing. I didn't have to car wash because I was doing it part-time. So I didn't have to go out and wash 10 cars. I can go out and hunt for the details. I can go out, do one detail in a week, and I'm good. So that's how it kind of started. And yeah, that's how it kind of started for me. And then I started seeing, I said, holding on to this job is a really good thing. I said, man, I got all my bills paid, and then everything I want over here is I'm extra, and I'm having fun. I don't, if a client calls me and he nickel dime me, I say, hey, here, call this guy. He'll help you out. I mean, I was kind of like cocky a little bit about it, but I had that, I could do that. If you're gonna sit here and nickel and dime me, it's like, this is what I charge. They're going like, well, how about a deal? How about this? It's like, you know what? Sorry, I can't help you right now. Here, let me pass you on to this guy. So I started to have a lot of these, so many benefits. And now that I've been doing it, 28 years, going on 29 years, I'm seeing so many benefits. Like even like when it comes to, and it's funny how we're talking about taking care of yourself. I just turned 62 in April.
Okay.
And I'm still detailing.
Well, I can definitely see how the fact that you're not doing it, basically on it like every day. You pick it, like you said, it's less wear and tear where you're picking and choosing jobs.
Yes.
And you're not in it, just
grinding
every day on the car. So you have the ability to, be selective,
yes.
because you're not dependent so much on the income from detailing strictly.
Yes.
So I definitely can see the benefit. Now, in terms of the types of detail you do, what are you mainly doing? Exterior, interior, a combination of both? What's the majority of your work that you do?
Well, now it's changed since I opened the shop. Since I opened the shop and I named the shop, it's Final Appearance Coating Studio. So I opened it with the idea of I'm going to be focusing mostly on coatings. So basically, I can't even, like, it's been a year now, and I think I've done one interior in that shop so far, because my focus has been, why not just turn and burn the exteriors? Because I started to find out with the coatings and with the exterior and with my market was mostly new cars.
Okay.
And they don't need any interior work, so to speak. They're not cars that have been abused. That's it just happened to be my market, and it happened to be from Hondas to minivans. I haven't done a lot of minivans, but mostly cars. But they're mostly new cars, 18s, 19s, 20s. People get new cars. They want to protect them, and that ceramic was like, that's like the holy grail now, and everybody wants it on their cars. So that's where the studio came in, and so most of my work right now is exterior detailing, and it's actually exterior coatings is my thing. I don't even like people, not too many people, because of, I guess, what I've been doing on the internet and things like that. People, when they're calling me for coating.
Okay.
Every so often I might get somebody, I want to get a full detail, and it's like, okay, that's fine. But 80% of the calls that I get in are ceramic.
Wow. Now, with that being said, being that you're doing primarily exterior, how's that on your body wise? What does that do compared to if you were doing the interiors versus?
It's less.
Exteriors, less stress.
It's less. It's less, and I'm finding another benefit, because the cars come in, they're pretty clean. Now I've even gotten away. And I don't want to say get all the way, but the way that this market is going with these new cars, I don't even push paint correction.
Really?
I done jumped on the enhancement. Seriously, because when the coatings first came out, the paint correction was like, people were like killing it. They was like, yeah, you got to get this paint correction, and it's going to be an extra $500 on top of this $1,000 for the coating, and yeah. And everybody was like, yeah, you gotta get it perfected. You gotta get it perfected. And And everybody did it, but not everybody wants to pay $600 for you to get all the scratches out of their car and coat it.
Yeah.
What I started to notice, and for me anyway, was I was getting new cars. They weren't that bad. I said, let me do a light polish and put some kind of coating on it, whether it's a 6 month, a 5 year, whatever, but let me do that. So now I'm finding out I don't have to do that much heavy lifting.
Okay.
Because, now if somebody brings a car and it's an old car and it needs some serious paint correction, I'm gonna estimate it, but unless you got the pockets to do it, well, it's for me, it's gotta, I'm kind of like, oh, I don't really want to do it, but if you're gonna pay me what I'm worth, I'll go ahead and do it and coat it. That's fine. But my market doesn't really do that, because every few and far between, I'll find somebody maybe with a hot rod or something like that, or they got a car and they say, oh, I heard of you and this and this and this, and they'll bring my car. And I can't even remember the last time I done like a 90 or 95% paint correction job and coating job. I just don't, my market, I just don't get them.
Yeah.
So that's when I said, you know what? Do this enhancement polish, boom. 6 months, 1 year, 3 year, whatever it is. And I'm talking 300, 500, 1,000. What do you want? What's your budget? What are you looking at? Mm-hmm. And I stress that, hey, when they come in, it's like, hey, the most important, I tell them the most important part is the outside of your car. If you keep this, preserve it, it's going to be, especially, and if it's a lease, oh, you got a lease? Hey, I got a 3-year coating for you. Boom. It'll be kind of, low maintenance. You wash it. You don't have to put any wax on it for 3 years. They're eating it up.
Yeah.
They're eating it up. I'm getting probably, well, since I decided to open my doors back up with the whole shutdown thing, and that's a whole nother thing, because I just slowly kind of eased myself into it. And I think we talked a little bit about it when I was saying, hey, I'm sitting here and I'm a one-man show. I had the advantage of not having a lot of people and keeping it exclusive. So I decided to open my doors. And I'm telling you, ever since I decided to do that, literally, in the last 2 weeks, I've done almost 4 coatings.
Oh, wow.
And I'm talking big jobs, big coating jobs. One guy even told me, he said, hey, right before this shutdown, I was getting ready to take it to X, Y, and Z, one of my competitors that was over, in this other city. And he said, but they were closed. And the light went on for me. I said, wait a minute, that's right. A lot of these big shops, I'm not knocking it, but a lot of the big shops, they had to close. They had employees, they had people, all of that kind of stuff. I'm still a one-man show. They can come in and put the keys on the chair and pay me online.
Right.
And I'm only touching the outside. Let me go on to work. So I got online. I started calling a couple of customers, a couple of leads that I had kind of just sitting out there. Sure enough, one guy told me, yeah, man, I just been sitting at home, man. And I've been wanting to get this done in my car. When can I bring it? I was like, oh, you can bring it today. But that's how it started to go, man. And I started thinking, I said, wait, I need to take advantage of the fact that I'm only working on the outside of the car. I've even gotten to the point where I was going to advertise at least until this whole COVID thing died. Uh-huh. I'm not even going to, and I think I told you a little bit, I'm not even going to offer interior detailing.
Okay.
Because like I said, 90% of the calls I get, they're all looking for ceramic. They don't even mention the inside of it. So I said, you know what? I might as well go and push towards that. But if somebody calls me and say, oh, I want to get my thing sanitized, I don't have to take it. So I'm going to say no. And if I know, and if there is a couple of guys in my area, some fellow detailers, that I can pass that work on to, that are willing to do it, and they need to do it, whether they need to feed their family or whatever. So I'm going to pass it on to them. I say, hey, call this guy. He's reputable. And that's what I like about the IDA, and also me being really good friends with all the local guys. You know, and I said, and I push that a lot with these guys, especially the guys in our area. I said, we got to stay connected, man, because we need to be able to share information. There's so many cars out here that, you're really not my competition. I'm not your competition. You're not my competition, because there's so many cars out here. So I try to be with the local guys. I try to be, I try to be close and be friends with it, with them. So.
Right. Yeah, and that brings up a good point. Here's my son here. He's getting on the
Hey,
act. And
woo, man, that's the
but
big boy right there.
yeah, he's a big boy, big boy.
Wow, how old is he?
He's 2.
Wow. Oh yeah.
But you bring up an important point, especially as a single operator.
Uh-huh.
Being that you may have a job that may be one out of your scope of work, something that you can't handle, and something that you may say, okay, I need another set of hands to help me out on this job. So do you call on detailers to do, I know you mentioned that you refer certain jobs out like the interior, but do you call, like, if you have a project, do you call on other detailers?
Yes,
projects?
Definitely. And there's a couple of guys in my area, Mario Alfonso with performance detailing. He's one. I know all of the local guys that are in my area, and we talk whenever. And then this is the other thing we do too. When they have an event or they have something going on, we make sure that we go, we support, and we do those kind of things, man.
Okay. So maintain the relationship. Yeah.
We stay connected. If there's something one of us might need or something like that, we're kind of connected like that, and it's still growing. It's still kind of young, but we're still growing. Like anytime that something happens, we hit each other up. We say, "Hey, I'm gonna have this thing." Like when I had my event in February, I called a bunch of the guys, and they all showed up, man. A lot of people came, and a lot of guys showed up. That was, that because I've been putting that out for a long time myself. Even when I go to different places, I always, whenever they have an event, I go, I show up, I support. Okay. So in turn, it all comes around. So
I got you. Now you mentioned the COVID, the coronavirus, all this, what we're coming out of, or hopefully we're coming out of it on the back side of it.
Yes, sir.
How do you manage? I know a lot of people are stressing in different ways, business wise, their personal health, and how have you managed personally in a man, what is your position just in all this, in this whole situation?
Okay, my my thing is I have a lot of peace about things that are going on. I mean, as you know, I'm a church boy, and and my roots are kind of deep in my service and my love for God, and that's where my confidence lies. I don't worry about, I don't want to say I don't worry, but I really don't think about too much about what's going on in this world. So my focus is my family. Is everybody okay? Are things going, what it is that I need to do to just keep everybody safe and keep things going. And so that my confidence, I believe that my confidence in what I believe has really helped. It has really given me peace in the things that are going on. And that's how I keep my peace. I don't like even when it first came out, and the guys everybody was like, "Oh man, we're gonna get ozone things and different things like that." I had to stop. What I did is I had to stop for a minute. I had to pray and I had to ask God, okay, what is it that I need to do in this situation? And what I was getting from him is like, you know what, just kind of don't worry, kind of back off of that and just wait. And because my girl was like, oh, you know what? Because we should start calling some of the clients and start sanitizing and this and that. I was like, and I wasn't, and she could tell I wasn't kind of feeling it. So I just kind of I kind of backed off and I kind of sat on it for a while. And eventually I started hearing things. Like I said, when I heard the thing with that solidified it for me was when I heard the thing with Rennie and Diane.
Okay.
And they started going into depth about the stuff that you need to combat it, and the equipment and different things like that. I started to think, I was like, because everybody thinks, guys don't realize that we're just detailers. We're not medical people. We don't know about this stuff. And a lot of people were throwing out a lot of things about, oh yeah, you should do this and use that and go here and do this and do that. And then all of a sudden you're talking about, yeah, you can bring it home on your clothes. And then what if you bring it home to your family? I was like, so when it started to get like that, I started to think of myself, I said, why should I even get into that? The other benefit was, hey, I'm a sole guy. It's not my only source of income. I can afford to say, okay, I'll put that to the side. I'm not going to mess with no interiors until I know something different, know something secure, that I'm not going to bring something back to my family. I just put it to the side. But being that I had my job, and thank God, I'm telling you, man, the plan was like pretty awesome. My hat's got to go up. I can't get the glory. I got to give it to God, because not only did I have a job, because a lot of people lost their job. Yeah. But I'm at work right now. Yeah. There's not a lot of people. There's people that are in the unemployment line. Yeah. I'm at work. And it just so happens that the college is deemed essential. And so we have to be open. And what's even better is that the college, like, they shut down on March 16th when they shut everything down. The college pretty much shut down. And the beginning of April, they went and they said that they got pretty much the whole school got put online. And then all the administrators work from home. So I'm in maintenance. Yeah. And maintenance is the only place that we can't work from home. But don't you know, they still have us coming here. And I told my crew, I had a serious talk with them. I said, look, the fact that we are here and there's no students, I told them, I said, you guys better count your blessings. Count your blessings, man, because we are here. And of course, because I was the boss, I had to come up with a plan, because I already told them, I said, I'm going to have to come up with a plan that we're doing X, Y, and Z during this shutdown time. So, of course, I came up with a nice plan, and I was able to, present it to my boss and say, look, this is what we got. This is the scope of work that we're going to be doing. This is the level we're going to be doing. And so I told them, I said, because when you think about it and you think about the board of trustees and all of this, I said, when they looking at the numbers, I said, like I said, the general fact that we are here and the school is closed, said, count your blessings, man, so I told them, I said, take this serious. When you go out, do what you need to do on this campus. I mean, they should be able to eat off the floors. It should be so clean in here. Yeah. But let's do it. And I told them, I said, I'm not gonna, because I'm not that kind of boss that's just gonna browbeat you and do all that. I came straight up. I came up from the heart. I said, look, you guys, this is a work ethic thing. You got to take this on to yourself. What it's doing for your family, how it's benefiting your family. I said, take that when you go out there and do what it is that you're doing in your areas. Take that with you. Take that with you, and just, because I don't want to be running around and with a flashlight and, what are you doing? No, that's not what it's about. You know what I'm saying? Because this is real now. You're working. You're getting a paycheck. They got 60 million or however many people it was on unemployment. The college is still opening the door so you can come and get a paycheck. Don't take that lightly. I tell them, don't take that lightly.
Yeah, that's definitely a blessing. And so definitely, people have to, those who still continue to work and weren't on the front line. That's the key.
Oh, man.
They weren't, you're not dealing with corona, any infected patients. You're not dealing with with any of that stuff at all.
Man, that's like I said. So I said, we really have to count. I tell them, almost every night when we come in, I look at them all and I say, hey, individually, I said, how's your family? Oh, how's your family? How's this? Everything okay? I go around each person. Everybody good? I said, okay, you guys know what you're doing? Boom, let's break. See you guys in a few hours. But every night, I always ask them, is everybody okay? And we used to, and my boss told them to make sure when you're talking to them, say, hey, if you guys feel uncomfortable, because we're keeping the social distancing, we got to wear masks, we got to do all of this stuff. But I tell him, but he told me to always tell them, if you guys feel any way that you don't feel safe or you don't feel this, you have the option to stay home.
Okay.
Now you won't get paid, but stay home because some people they're really like, oh, I don't want to get this thing, or they got family members they have to worry about. So we have to be cautious of how we're doing stuff. And it's like, hey, if you guys feel, you can always take vacation. You can take some sick time if you need to. But I said, I don't want to feel like because we have this thing open now that you have to come. So I try to keep it open for that. But it is truly, for me, it's been a blessing because literally this job actually helped keep my business afloat because the first year, right around, I opened it in June last year. October, November, December was dead.
Yeah.
Dead as a doornail.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I didn't have that, I mean, I had to do a balancing act. I was like balancing between mortgage and lease and car notes. I was doing some balancing, but I made it through. I made it through 2019. But thank God that, I mean, because I probably would have had to close the doors. And it's funny because the thing that I learned in that was coming from mobile and being somewhat spoiled having a job. When it got slow for me during mobile times, I would put my van in the garage and I would watch Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
It never came to me to get creative to do anything.
Yeah.
So I wasn't ready for that. Well, sure enough, it started getting slow. And then I started to think, I said, well, what's happening? All of a sudden, I get online, I'm talking to guys, and they say, oh, man, it rained like for 3 weeks. I'm going, oh, yeah, that's right. Or it's graduation, summer vacation. These things were oblivious to me because I had a full-time job.
Yeah.
It was oblivious to me, but I learned something in that. So, okay, I got to be prepared. I got to be prepared for next June when graduation, and they're not detailing their cars, they're buying cars. You know what I mean? That ebb and flow of business and having overhead was a little bit oblivious to me because I've always had the income coming in and I didn't have to think on that level.
Right.
So now I think that's helped me because now it's made me a better businessman because now I have to think in advance. I have to think about a reserve. And even to the point where when this thing shut down, I didn't really have time I had money, thank God, but I know that I need to have more money now. Some kind of reserve, a more of a reserve. So when it does get slow, I'm not going helter skelter. And it was so funny because I started thinking, I said, that's why some detail shop got dent removal, window tinting. I'm going like, oh, because it started to make sense to me now. But oh yeah, because they're trying to keep the doors open. But it didn't dawn on me because, like I said, when it got slow when I was detailing, I parked that van or in the garage and I go in and watch Netflix. I didn't know. So that was a really big, and especially being late in my career, it was an eye opener for me that I didn't even think about anything like that. So it's helped me business-wise to get that business mind going more now because now I have overhead and I have to think that way. So it's helped me. Right. It's helped.
Now you say you're retiring in 5 years. So what do you see? I imagine you're going to keep detailing, but how do you see yourself after those 5 years with the college?
So recently, I was saying this thing, and I was just kind of throwing it out there. I was telling people I'm on a 6-year plan. They're going like, "What's a 6-year plan?" I said, "Well, in 6 years, I will be retiring from the college." My initial plan, and I don't know how much has changed since the COVID outbreak. My initial plan was in 5 years since I have the shop open, is to get some people in here working it and keeping it going. So when I retire in 5 years, I don't want to retire and then keep working on cars.
Okay.
That was my initial thing. Now I'm kind of rethinking it a little bit, but I could think, okay, I could get 1 or 2 guys in here doing this thing. I was going to work on the branding a little bit more. But then that's when, and also I said, because when I walk away from this place, ideally is to have the shop running, being self-sufficient, and then I can do some other things. I can do more of like, like how doing some, I don't know, I don't want to do a whole bunch of trainings and stuff, but I like to get with the brothers and the fellow detailers and talk shop or whatever, my consulting. I don't know, just going. I mean, I'm thinking like maybe going to other shops in other areas, like going to Florida, going to Atlanta, or going like here and doing some speaking things. I mean, I want to do some, doing something like that to give, because I still want to be in the industry, but I figured in the 5 years, I don't really. I mean, I've done a lot of cars. I've done some nice prestigious cars. I've done hot rods. I've done it all. Not all, but there's probably some other things I could have wanted to do. But at that point in my life, I have grandkids.
Yeah.
I have 2 grandkids. I want to be doing things with them. And my initial thing was thinking, oh, if I keep this thing in the family, it could be something that they could, if they want to do it, if I can get my son involved in it or my daughter, and they want to keep it going, it's kind of like a legacy type of thing. The final appearance name, the brand, it could get carried on. So that was one way that I was thinking about going. But in light of this coronavirus and the way that the economy and everything shut down, I started thinking, I was like, when I get ready to retire, I think that I'm thinking, and I haven't changed everything already, but I'm thinking, man, I want to just do some stuff. I have to look back and say, I had a pretty decent detailing career. I had some fun. I did a lot of things, getting ready to retire. And the way that things are going now, I mean, things are getting cut short. Who's to say that, as far as traveling and doing stuff, it's going to be all different now. So I'm thinking to myself, I might want to take advantage while I still have my youth to do some more of those things. Maybe stay in the industry a little bit, go in here, go in there, do some speaking engagements maybe, mentor some people, do some of that, but not be tied down to the business, just maybe sell it or do something. I don't really know, but it's because traveling and going places, I think moving forward is going to be a little bit different, and we might be restricted on things that we might want to do. So I'm thinking before that's all gone, I might as well maybe take advantage of that. So I've been kind of rethinking it a little bit, but my original goal was to get this thing running where it was self-sufficient, have two guys in there, one guy, a slash manager, and just let them work that and have residual income coming from it, but it be functioning and running.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, that's man, sounds like you definitely put some thought into it.
Oh yeah, man. Hey, because I'm getting up in age too, and you have to think about, and I think too, we as people sometimes we don't think enough ahead. We're kind of going not so much day to day, but year to year. We kind of just go, and then all of a sudden we get to this certain point. We get 10 years down the road, and we're like, wow, I didn't really get a lot of the things that I wanted to get done, or I'll have some kind of plan, to be there. And so I, over the years that I've been working and grinding and doing both jobs and all that kind of stuff, I always had to think about, okay, what is my future like? Because at one point, before the shop and before the coatings and stuff came, I was thinking about how I was gonna transition from mobile detailing. It's like, okay, do I sell get to a point where I don't detail no more and just sell the business and keep moving on? And then I started thinking, I said, wait, I have a brand, I have a name, I have a reputation, and that's worth some money if I work it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, people recognize it, and you've been established for a number of years. So people, granted it's you, but they know that name. You are the brand. And so to carry that on is very important.
Yeah.
let's shift gears just a little bit.
Okay.
Social media. So how are you using social media, and what is your take on how people are using social media, and is it light smoke and mirrors, or is it legit?
Okay. Social media. I was always and coming up in social media when it first came out. And if you know a little bit about me, and you've been following me for a while, and I really kind of stayed away from. I like the idea when it came out. You were catching up with family, all of these different things. That was fine and dandy. But then when it came to the detailing world, and then people would get on and they have this agreement and they have this disagreement, and this person, I'm the best polisher and I'm the best detailer and you suck and all. I'm going like, wow. It's like, you know what? This is not, that was kind of, I guess the good with the bad type of thing. But for me, I found it to be really good. I mean, for me, it was really good. I used it for what it was for. I didn't, I never got on. I never bashed anybody. I never even, I don't even go on and comment unless it's, if somebody starts a thread and they're going back and forth, what's this and what's that? I just look and I keep it going because so many people have so many opinions and you get caught up wasting a lot of time and energy and it's wasted. So I use it to show people what it is that I'm doing. I use it a lot for my family and my friends to just be connected for them to see what I'm doing. But in the business world, hey, I put my stuff on there, and I've gotten to the point. At first, I was like with the other people, 50/50s and all of this, and my car, I just got it washed, I just got it cleaned, I just washed another one, I just waxed another one. Going like, okay, how many of those are you gonna show? I mean, what is it? To me, it started getting to the point. If I can't show anything, and this is just me, like I'm later in my career, I started to think if I can't put something on that's gonna help somebody, then I don't want to put anything on.
Okay.
So if I'm working, like, if I'm outside, like for instance, like when I was, mobile detailing a lot, and I found a quick way to wax a car in the sun and find those little tricks like that, those are the things that I wanted to start bringing. If I did something with my waterless system, or I found a little trick that made it a little bit easier, those are the things that I wanted to kind of start putting on social media.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that social media for in a certain part has hurt some people because, like, especially guys that are starting out, and I've heard this from people that talk to me. They come and they sit and they want to, consult with me and do whatever. And they say, man, I got on social media and I saw this guy. He had this nice rig. He had this. He had all the tools and everything. And he said, and he felt like, man, if I don't have that, then I really can't get into this game.
Yeah.
It's almost like you said. It's some of it is that smoke and mirrors. It's like the guys get on and all they do is exotics, and and it's like, yeah, but you're not showing them like, yeah, you have to do the other stuff too, because you got to do the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but all they'll show is like Ferraris and all this, and it's kind of, and some of the guys, they get on and it's like, man, it's like, I was thinking about getting into it, man, but it's just, I don't know. It's like, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can afford it. You know what I'm going, like, or some guys get on, you got to have this tool. If you don't have a Rufus, you're not even a detailer. It's that kind of stuff that I think that the social media has really hurt the industry, so to speak.
Yeah, I definitely can relate. And at one point in time, I found myself looking at people like, ooh, and yeah, I need this, I need that. I had to back up, had to put the brakes on and realize, like, look, I educate myself, not just on social media, but I go to do research and things of that nature,
right?
On tools and equipment, chemicals.
Yep.
And I can't get caught up in the hype of social media.
Yep. And that's what the social media, and so like sometimes when I'm talking to guys, I kind of let them know. I say, man, you can't get caught up in that, because like for instance, for me, for a long time, like even when I was first starting out, And I was getting in those realms with those guys. This is one of the things they used to always say when they used to ask me, like, and I'm talking like be around McGuire's group of people, these and well-known people, right? And they would say, "Oh, so what are you doing?" And I go like, "Well, I'm doing mobile detailing, but I'm just doing part-time." Oh, they turned their head. They would turn the other way. You know what I'm saying? They would go like, "Oh, you're just part-time?" Oh. And for a while, it started to bug me for a little while until I got some wisdom on it. And the wisdom was to perfect my craft. That was the wisdom. So I set out to perfect my craft by finding classes, taking seminars. Every time I heard of something, I went out and I learned, like you said, educated myself. And 28 years later, I'm right there. I'm right there with the best of them. But that was the thing. But I didn't let that deter me saying, "Oh, you're just this." And even when it came to a shop, the guys are always like, "Oh man, you're doing such good work. You should get a shop and you should get this. I made $300,000 last year, and blah 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 blah." And they're going on and on and on, and they're showing all this stuff and this fancy shops on Instagram and the fancy shops on Facebook and all this other kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, you would hear other stories about, "Oh yeah, I made $100,000, but I only took home 20,000." It's like, "Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, there's overhead. I gotta pay employees. I got, oh yeah. But on social media, the guys is like, "Yeah, I got this fantastic thing, and we're just doing great and all that." Yeah, and I take not, you're not seeing the real side of everything that's going on, and so. I used to have to say to myself, "That's fine, dandy for them," but I had to keep reminding myself, that's not why I got into the business. At the time, I didn't get into a business to own a shop. I just want to detail cars. I want to make cars look nice one at a time. How can I do that? That's what I want to do. That's fine if you want to have 15 trucks, that's fine. But I had to keep that. And that's where I kept myself away from the social media, that part, looking at what people have, because I had to keep focused. What is it that I want to do? What is it that I want out of the business? And that was, and I said this one time on one of my podcasts with Jimbo. I said, "You know what?" Because he said, "What's that thing that you can tell somebody?" I said, "Look," I said, "This business, the beauty about this business is you can do it so many different ways." What I would tell somebody getting into the business, find out how to make the business you.
Yeah.
Make the business you. How you want it to work for you, that's how you, and because this business is so flexible, there's so many different ways you can do it. If you want to have 3 shops, have at it. Just do the homework. If you want to just be a guy by yourself doing your thing, do that. You know what I'm saying? But the beauty, but you have to find out what it is that you want out of it and make it you. And that's what I feel that over the years, that's what I did. I decided I wanted to do cars one at a time. How can I do that? Make money, take care of my family, and do that. And that's hence came the job, keeping the job, and lo and behold, it's the best thing that I ever did. I tell some people sometimes, I got the best of both worlds, man. I got a W-2 and I got home-based business tax write-offs. Hello.
Yeah.
It's so funny, and it's so funny, like, all the things that I started to find so many benefits. Like for instance, I made myself a challenge one time. I said, I'm going to see if I'm going to go for a couple of months. What I did, I matched my income. I said, this is what I make at work. Let me see if I can make that in my business in one day.
Okay.
In one day.
Okay.
So I would leave work, go home, do whatever, come back there, do a detail or whatever. And I said, wow, I just doubled down because I got paid for my job and I got paid to do this detail.
Yeah, that's I like that. You're looking at it like, okay, yeah, and you're making it work. That's the key is you're actually pursuing avenues to make it happen, and you've been strategic about it. It seems. And so in focus, one of the things I hear that the focus has to be there, because otherwise you probably been all over the place.
Man, and let me tell you, and you're right, because now this is my life, work, business, family, and a strong church life. I'm talking about some serious service. I'm talking about not missing services at church, not working on Sundays, and I'm talking about serving faithfully in my ministry for now almost 26 years at the same ministry, full on, like. And so, and it's funny because I started to think to myself. I told somebody the other day, said, you know what? Over these years of doing all of this stuff, I became a really good manager without even knowing. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm managing a full crew here, a management position at night. Then I'm doing my business, building my business, and because I'm a one-man thing, I'm doing the bills. I'm writing. I'm doing the marketing. I'm doing the follow-ups. I'm doing all of that. My own social media. I'm doing my Instagram. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. My business cards. It's like, yeah. The focus is in that, like you said, and in the health thing, I still had to stay healthy. I had to try to, my diet. I had to try to keep some kind of decent diet, and because hey, I'm here at work. I'm up all night, and it's funny because it became something for me because I wound up, and I don't know really. I probably won't know until I'm gone from here, but I pretty much had to get on a schedule to where I was really functioning on power naps.
Okay.
I had
power naps.
On the power naps. I mean, literally, because when I first started, because like I said, I worked the graveyard. So most of the time I would work all night from about 9 o'clock. Well, actually here my schedule is 9 p.m. to 5:30 a.m. And then I would literally, and it's so wonderful because I'm probably 20 minutes from home from my job.
Okay.
20 minutes, and it's early in the morning. When I come to work, it's late at night, so there's no traffic. I get home. I'm home by 6 o'clock. I'm in the bed. I'm probably sleep by 7, and I'm up by 9:30, 10.
Okay. Wow.
But I had to schedule it. I had to know what I was doing, and I had when I would do the mobile, I wouldn't set any appointments before 10 o'clock. But I could go out, do that mobile service, come home, go to sleep for a couple of hours, and then do the power nap, then get up in time to go to work and come to work.
No, that's pretty cool. That's that's some serious management, knowing when to sleep and what you need in the day to function. Because now in terms of your power nap, what's the longevity duration of a power nap?
4 to 5 hours.
Okay.
4 to 5 hours.
All right.
And I don't know, like I said, I won't even know how. I mean, I from what I'm understanding, I'm in pretty good shape health-wise. I don't have high blood pressure. I don't have diabetes, none of that thing, because I just know that. I mean, and I haven't really been on an exercise pattern like I used to. I used to play ball, and that was my exercise. But I gave it up about 4 years ago because I started getting hurt to the point where it would take me a long time to recover.
Yeah.
Being my body was a little bit older. I mean, I was running with the young guys, and I was still going coast to coast. And I was doing pretty good. But then when I would get my finger hurt or sprain my ankle,
mm-hmm.
I'm down for 6 months.
Wow.
And
this is basketball?
What's that?
Was this basketball?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you know how physical it is, and then you get out there with these young guys, and they just think they're they want to be all out there, and the other thing they wanted to do is on the fast break, they wanted to come and block your shot. They wanted to come from half court and block your shot, you know? And I'm going like, nah, man. It's so funny. When they used to do that to me, I used to run out of bounds with the ball because they're coming 100 miles an hour, and it's like, hey, we're not getting paid. And you know how it is. It's very competitive. These guys think they want to do it. And I started saying, like, yeah, but it kept me in so good shape because we had a routine. I was playing 2 times a week in the morning, and then I would work out. I would work out after the basketball. We'd work out and, you know, kind of do my thing. And, man, for probably a good 20 years, it kept me going.
Wow.
But
yeah. I love b-ball. I don't play. I used to play pretty often, but now I don't play anymore.
Man.
Yeah.
That was my thing, man.
Yeah.
And I played with a bunch of guys. We played for almost 25 years together. Okay. And I'm talking, and I started when I was like maybe 35, 36, you know, with some guys, and we just went for a good 20 years, man. I mean, we switched a couple of gyms, but I'm talking guys that were 10 years older than me to 10 years younger. And we had and we were all like just ball together. Every Tuesday morning, it was like business guys. Every Tuesday and Thursday morning, we would meet at this gym, and we would have this, you know, pickup games. Oh man, I was in such good shape, man. But you know, I think still being physical and getting up and down, it's still helped my body. And that's the other thing too, is I didn't have the wear and tear on my body, and like, cause my knees even when I played ball when I was young, I didn't play to the point where I ruined everything. So my knees and stuff are still good. I don't have, you know, my back is still good. I never injured myself at work. I tried to preserve myself and keep myself healthy at work, you know, to the point where, like I said, I'm 62 and I could probably still kind of run circles around some cats detail, you know. You know what I mean?
All right. Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like I could still get down, and it's like, and if you look at some of the cats that are in the industry that are my age, they're a little bit worn out. And I even heard a couple of young guys say, man, you know, the guys that are grinding, they're like, dude, man, my back has been, you know, they're like in their 30s and in their 40s because, you know, that constant, it's hard on the body. It's like construction work. It's hard on your body. And I just, you know, I said, man, I'm thank God that I did what I did, because, I mean, I could still walk around and I could still function. Even when I'm doing the coatings and stuff, sometimes when I have to kneel down and stuff like that, I still do it without, you know, of course, when I'm finished, that's another story.
Yeah.
It'd be like sometimes when I remember, like when I go out and do mobile service, and when I go out and do, you know, a complete detail, I get in the van. By the time I get home, man, I have to call somebody to come get me out. Be like, man, everything be like, ooh, oh my goodness. It's like, so yeah, I'll be like, and be out in that sun.
Yeah.
But it was something about being out there. That's what I said in the beginning. I was saying, you know, in the beginning, I was a hardcore mobile guy. I used to hear the stuff about the shops and everything, but I loved being outside. I like that personal thing with the clients. I knew the kids. They knew my kids. It was that kind of, and I like that. And I like going out to being in a different location sometimes every day and seeing stuff. I was hardcore. I was hardcore mobile, man, for a long time. And it's not until the coding started coming, and then, you know, I got a little bit more seasoned. I got a little older. It's like, oh, you know, let me taste this and see what this is like, to say that I did it, you know, and I achieved it. And, you know, that was part of that as well. You know, it's like, hey, take it to another level. And, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoyed the talk, man. We've actually gone over an hour now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. It's almost lunchtime for me.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna hold you on the line too much long. So if anything you can say and leave to the people that's on just checking us out, what can you share with us? You want to leave with us tonight?
You know, it was like I was saying, earlier about this industry and about life in general. It's like there has to be a balance. And if I could say something about people that are, doing this industry or in this industry, and some of the young guys, it's like really find your niche, because there's this business is a niche business, but there's a niche inside the niche. And I think that you need to find that, because that's where the joy is going to be. That's where you're going to still have your passion for the business. That's one of the things that when I'm talking to some guys and they'll say it and they'll ask me about different things, and I say, you know what? I can say beyond the shadow of a doubt that I literally, because of the way that I did it, and it's not for everybody, but the way that I did it, to this day, right now, I am actually I'm getting paid to do my passion.
Yeah.
I'm getting paid to do my passion, not knocking a full-fledged business, employees and all that. I think that you can still have passion. You can still be passionate about it, but I can truly be passionate about every car that I do, because, I'm getting paid to do it, and I'm doing it at my own kind of leisure.
Yeah.
So, and I'm still doing it, I'm doing one car at a time. I mean, especially now the way the coatings are, if I did a coating a week, I'm good.
Yeah.
It's like I could do one coating a week, and the rest of the week I could be doing whatever it is that I want to do, because I'm at that, where I'm at. So, like I said, I think there's a niche inside the niche, and then there's a balance. And one of the things that I really found out is about being rounded about your family, and having, because that's one of the things that I noticed when I was coming up in the industry. Some of these guys were tied into these jobs or into these businesses. They were working 70 hours, 90 hours, and not doing anything else, not being involved with their family, or not exercising, and not taking care of themselves. They're just after chasing the money. That was the other thing that I didn't have to do. I didn't have to chase money. So that made a difference for me as far as what I charged people, what I had to do. It raised the respect level, because I didn't have to chase money. I didn't have to take every dirty job. I didn't have to do that. That was one of the other benefits to having the job, is I didn't have to chase money. It's like I was, like we talked earlier, I could pick and choose my clients. If they didn't fit what I was looking for, then I could just move on, or I can pass them on to somebody else.
Gotcha.
So I would say the balance thing, there's a niche inside the niche as far as when it comes to detailing, and people need to find that, because that's where your passion, I think you can still have that passion to drive you to what it is that you want. And the other thing is that, because no matter what social media says and how the industry is, and people say and they talk and do all this kind of stuff, you got to know what you want out of the business and stay focused on that, and not get turned around by what other people are doing, and because you can get lost in that, and you get caught up chasing somebody else's dream.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, seeing, what they got, what's going on, so on and so forth, and you get caught up in that, and next thing you know, it's like you're trying to do something that's not really in your realm to really be doing. So.
Cool. Yeah, that's important. In terms of contacting you, how can people get a hold of you, whether phone, social media, online? How can we
Let me see, on social media, I'm it's Final Appearance Detailing and Protection on Facebook. I have a website, finalappearance.net. Also, I have email, finaladetail@gmail.com. And then, of course, they can always call me or text me. My number is 562-607-3026.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Harris. And
Yes, sir.
I I enjoyed it. I was taking notes the whole time.
I saw you. I saw you, man. But this was good, man. It was really it's really good, man. I can do this stuff all day, man, and I just love. I mean, I really love what this industry has done, and the people and things that we need, and that's kind of where I'm at with my life. Is I want to meet people, I want to talk to people, I want to share. And so that's kind of, I'm at that point, man. I'm on that part of the hill, man, where it's just, I want to give back, I want to pay it forward. So I'm going to be looking in the future, looking at avenues and places and things to do more of that.
All right. Well, you heard him. He wants to, Claude, he wants to give back. He wants to help. So definitely reach out to him. And again, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I enjoyed it. And I hope people pull some nuggets out of this and they can benefit from it. So I know I pulled some out of it, and I'm going to see how I can make use of them.
All right.
You have a good evening, and we'll see you next time. I'll see you online.
All right. Take care now.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
All right.